Everyone, this is Greg, Grégoire from Paris, bonjour. So this is a videos which first part is a few news about the channels, about me, before we start the topic of the day. So why haven't I done more negative reviews? And just for a good measure, a budget whiskey review, which might go into negative or positive, we don't know yet, we'll see. And a few other things I had to mention about it. But first I'd like to do two apologies, a short one to say at the latest live show I've done, and I hope the fan there doesn't bother you sonically, because it's starting to get a bit hot here, hot and moist, so it's not a good time for me. But yeah, the latest live I did, which was finally mainly in English, I added the timestamps, etc., the chapters, but unfortunately YouTube still doesn't allow me to give you the replay of the chat. I don't understand why. I didn't manage to find out why. I tried several times. Maybe I will succeed someday, but just to let you know, it's not my fault. I'm sorry about that. You can't see the chat in the latest live show. Second apologies, it's about the live for the 5th anniversary of the channel, 25 years of tasting, 20 years of Whiskey Life Paris, etc. I had two guests initially. There were schedules issues. Despite we discussed about it, it was very difficult for one of them, Dave. It was because he's too busy at the moment, visiting distilleries from all over the world, participating to events as a consultant, writer, etc. So he was just back from Japan, and then switched to Scotland's festival, so it was very hard to have him there, despite they all, both said yes immediately. But we'll have them later on, they promised. Also, John called me personally to tell me how sorry he was and how he wanted to do it for me, and he probably will do it later on. I hope so, crossing fingers. He's facing some problems at the moment I'm not really allowed to tell you about. But this would have been difficult if I had to invite him and that he couldn't really speak about his own creations. It's a quite difficult, sad situation at the moment. Can't say more, might have been saying too much already, but I didn't expect that, he didn't expect that, and all the best for him. Honestly, I will give him a wink later on when I will try something but yeah, it's what it is, so we have to deal with that. More positive thing, we had a meeting, unexpected last minute invite, thank you Martin again, with some barflies from, you know, if you follow Aquavite's channel. And again, sorry if it's a repetition for you. All I will say in the first part before the topic, you can switch, there are timestamps in the description, but I'm doing this for people who don't follow me on Instagram and people who not used to visit community page of my YouTube channel. There are still a lot of people like that. Not their fault, it's because a lot of channels do not have a community page, so it's not a reflex, it's not a natural thing to check everything, and not everyone has clicked the notification bell as well. Okay, I hope you understand that. So if it's a repetition for me, you can skip it to go up to the topic. Same for the support. I will say something about supporting the channel. If you're not interested, again, you can skip it. I understand. So yeah, we had a barfly meeting with Pedro Meneses, hope I don't butcher his name, who came in Paris, not the first time, with his wife, and had a nice time there. Very kindly he brought 5 bottles of different spirits, including whiskey, from Brazil, and he shared them with us, and also every one of us, we were 6 people, brought also some things. We gathered whiskies, and we gathered in a place called Fromagerie Lire, which is in English I think it's cheesemonger, and also he has a little part of a very nice selection by Martin of wine and spirits. And we had the Lucas from the fromagerie provided some charcuterie, delicatessen if you like, and cheese to go along with the whiskies and other spirits. Pedro very kindly left all the bottles because once they're open, they couldn't fly back to Brazil with open bottle, obviously. And he said at the end, he said, take the one you want. We were 6 people, and we were a bit annoyed because we really wanted the more possible people to have a try of the whiskies at least. There were 3 whiskies. So we left the whiskies to look at the place in order, not for sale, but maybe to be poured to people who are interested at some point. But because he insisted, I accepted to take this, which was one of my favorite, which is not a whiskey, but a white grape spirit, a Lorena grape variety from Brazil. A beautiful, beautiful spirit, not unlike some grappas. I will cover it at some point, maybe in a collective white spirit video, which wasn't planned initially, but... And also, as he wanted us to come back with something, we tried one whiskey from the Lamas distillery in amber and a cask, and we tried 2. Included this 2005, I think, 17 years old. Brazilian whiskey, bourbon cask, 43% ABV, beautiful. So I'm gonna review that. If you're interested in Brazilian whiskies, I was kindly offered way before that by a French supporter of the YouTube channel 2 Lamas distillery single malt whiskey from Brazil. The Nimbus Robustus smoked barley, 54% ABV, and the Rarus rum cask, which is 43%. So these 2, if you want to know my opinion about these 2, they're already online in the live show. I will give you a link below. I recently did, 1 month ago, so you can have my opinion. And Martin brought a very nice Kilkerran heavily peated bourbon cask whiskey as well. Did I say it? I brought my own Northman Cuvée 1110. I did blend for the French distillery, so everyone could try it. Next subtopic, supporting my channel. For those interested, otherwise you can skip it. There's 3 ways now to support my channels. 3 or 4. First, it's free. It's the one who is, as usual, as for other channels, like, subscribe, click the notification bell, you know that jazz, all that jazz, and leave a comment below the videos. It seems very boring, very repetitive, everyone has that, but if you don't leave a comment, you have to know that the videos I spend a lot of time preparing them. Usually they will not be seen by a lot of people, and the algorithm of YouTube will not propose them to a lot of people, or never propose it if there's 1 or 2 likes only. And I have a problem of ratio between the views. Everyone has, but for me it's more critical because I'm still under 1K. I have a problem of ratio between all the people who watch the videos or tell me afterwards they like the video, but don't click the like button. So please, if you can. 2 other ways now. I was obliged to do that because you know about cost of everything, and whiskey in particular. It gets a bit crazy, and even if I cannot buy everything, and even 1% of what I would like to buy. There are things that are increasing, so I didn't know how to do it, but finally I found a way to do a crowdfunding system, kind of Patreon if you like, through the Buy Me a Coffee, which I changed to Buy Me a Coffee/drum. You will find a link in the description about that if you want to help. Very quickly, you have 3 options. The one is to support occasionally. It's in euros, but they can change it with every money you want. I mean, you can donate every money you want. There's an occasional support of 5 euros every now and then by 3, by 5. They decide that. I don't decide that really. So you can donate every now and then when you want. And membership, there's 2 levels of memberships, 5 euros a month and 15 euros a month for those who can, of course, always. It's what I call level 1, level 2. In first you get personalized contact with personal chat and purchase advice if you like, or a short topic or tasting notes that I can share with you in private. And for the 15 euros you get the same, plus every now and then you get other, like I said, I had to be prudent of what I can do. That was also why I didn't do Patreon before, but other physical or digital treat whenever possible, depending on your location and budget. But I can every now and then, depending on when you are, etc., send you samples, stuff like that. But I don't want this to be, that's what I changed the thing, what I wrote. I don't want this to be a sample trade system, because otherwise there has no interest. I mean, I have issues to buy whiskey, to buy samples, to buy seats, to go to shows. It's not to do a system of trade which finally is almost the same. I mean, I have to be fair also on the samples, so I can charge you too much, but there's the shipping, etc. So it has no interest for me if at the end of the day I get nothing out of it and you're happy with samples, not too expensive, but for me there's nothing gained there except new friends, yeah, maybe. So yeah, so I will not let you down, that's all I can say. For now there's only 1 membership, and thanks very much to Toby Phil from Whiskey Shed for that, who also advised me on this Patreon system. And I'm sorry to say, if there's only 1 donator, I cannot even technically withdraw the money for me. Under 10 euros they refuse it. So it's kind of weird system, it's what it is. I can't criticize too much there, the platform, but it's the way it is. So I need at least 1 people to donate 5 euros per month, so I could start benefit from it. Otherwise I can't. Just saying, sorry. Okay, enough of this. Now the topic, I thought I had a discussion, so why have I not done more negative reviews so far? I have a discussion with someone, and sorry I don't remember who, in one of the chats. I mean, I don't remember if it was related obviously to Aquavite VPub, but was it in the VPub? Was it in Jeff Whiskey's taking over the VPub? Was it Jim or other people? I don't remember really. But someone talked about negative, positive reviews, and I said, and I surprised people, I don't want to do too many negative reviews because it's an issue, especially here for us in France. And the people were surprised why, and I said there are regulations. So let me explain you quickly what I meant. But honestly, there are several reasons. It's not only because of the regulations. I have a lot of whiskies on board, but there are a lot that are not recent, so that's why I ask for your support. And I cannot review because they're not recent. I can put them into a context where I will tell you there is this today and there was this yesterday, like I did for Miyagiko, to make people relate a bit to them. But there are also a lot of average whiskies which I'm not in a hurry to cover because there are others, or a lot of samples that are late to cover. And my theory is that there's too many whiskies to cover and too little time, so why waste time to cover whiskies I don't like or I don't find very interesting? So I said to myself when I started the channel, let's cover mainly, not only, mainly decent to excellent whiskies. Excellent and more. But every now and then, and especially if I do themed video, I think it could be interesting to drop a whiskey that's very disappointing. I don't know. And also, if you ask me, I have to be prudent, and I will get to this why soon next, but I can answer. If you have a whiskey that you know I might, or you think I might have tried, you can ask my opinion and I will give it as honest and possible, but I have to be moderate at some extent because, and it's the second point, because we have here, I'm not gonna summarize all this, but we have here regulations, issues regarding boycott and what we say jurisprudence, which is case law. So what that means, there's several kinds of boycott. The one, obviously it's not mine, it's the professional. I mean, it's when a restaurant, for instance, will publish things against another restaurant. And bear in mind, many of them are doing this anonymously through the TripAdvisor platform. It's anti-concurrential, like they say. It's forbidden practice, but it still exists. But we're not into that case. We're in the case where I could diss or criticize or shut down in flames a whiskey because I believe it's not good, etc., etc. I can say it. I can also tell you it's not good and don't buy it, but I have to have arguments, solid arguments, and I have also to find something positive to say. Otherwise, the companies could sue me, the producers, and say I'm doing anti-commercial move to put them into difficulty. So there have been cases where the reviewer was prosecuted, sued for that. Now, I don't know recent cases regarding whiskey, but for other products it did occur. And also there was a very famous case about a restaurant where the blogger or Instagrammer, Facebook, I don't remember which channel it was, which media, there was a very negative review about a restaurant experience, and the fact there was a full negative, the court said no, you don't have the right to do that because you're damaging the company's reputation and might be losing money, losing staff, etc. at some point. So it was a specific case, but this now can be applied in case law. So this is, for instance, one of the reasons that when I did my report about my trip in Scotland of 2018, and I had a very bad, partly bad experience, let's be honest, at Dalmore Distillery when we visited with a friend. I really hesitated to do the report on that distillery because I was afraid to be sued. So I had to put things really carefully in words, but I didn't lie, I didn't made up things that did not exist, because it was also a positive experience in a way. So what did I say? I said, this is my experience with Dalmore whiskies first. Negative, positive. And I have 3 Dalmores, so bottles, one being exceptional. But and also then I said, what did I see during my visit? There was this positive aspect, and this was very negative aspect, and another one negative. So I didn't have any problems. So you see, I can speak very badly of whiskey, but say don't buy it, it's crap, it's other words. I will not really do it because I don't want to have trouble. And now that said, in a discussion, in a live show, I don't know, it's possible I say that still, but if I do a video with the name of the whiskey under, etc., very squared thing, where I can, you see what I mean, it is a risk, so I prefer not to do it. So they are main reasons, so I hope you understand it. Now that said, I said let's do also in the same video budget or supermarket, tailor-made supermarket in that case, whiskey review, and see if it falls down into the negative review or not, and also I hope you know that I will cover a whiskey which is not the first time I buy it from a company, a blending company called Clydesdale Scotch Whisky Co., based in Glasgow, with, as you know, blends. It's a blended malt, but in these 2 cases, if I'm not mistaken, also for the blended malt. Yeah, I'm sure about it because of another bottle here. When you do Scotch single malts, you're not allowed to bottle them abroad. But when you produce, whatever your OB or IB, official or indie bottler, you are allowed to bottle it. So it's sad, but you're gonna ship in tanks or in other kinds of big vessels, or I mean big trucks with citerne in French, big tanks loaded with whiskey, as dangerous as it can be, travel on roads, etc. They're gonna ship that into Europe, for instance, or Asia or elsewhere. And in Europe, especially, I know in Europe, continental Europe, it's allowed. So I'll speak only about that. You can ship the whiskey in bulk there and then bottle it, I mean, near Paris even. So this one, it says Rosy Creek GmbH Stiftsbergstraße, Neckarsulm. So it's in Germany. It was bottled in Germany. How about that? Anyway, these are, and also, yeah, I will show you the bottle. But I had other bottles to show you, but maybe after. So this Abrachan, which I don't know what it is, I'm sorry. Triple Barrel, what do I wanted to say about this? Yeah, so this is a blended malt, tailor-made for LIDL channel of shops. I don't know even if it says it. It doesn't seem to say it, but we know. Very few informations online, I'm sorry. So this Abrachan undisclosed blended malt, necessarily it's undisclosed, but at a certain extent. But you could make a play of words with 3 distilleries or 2, but yeah, they don't do that usually. I already had one, and I'm sorry, it has been cannibalized and modified to be an infinity bottle number 1 since, but it was a 16 years old. So with well, let's say decent one, but a bit boring, and that's why I kept the last third of, well, let's say one out of 4 in quantity, to do a blended malt, to enhance it locally. and I'm quite happy with it. It's getting down too much because I shared it too much, including to some of you guys, other whiskey tubers and people in challenge, blind taste, etc. Lots of Springbanks in there, by the way. So yeah, how about this one? This is the first time, really very first time, it's in French mainly, but that it bears an age statement, 4 years old, on the back label, which is amazing. And also, while it's a French, very weird, it's a French designed, for France label, but made in Germany, so in theory it should include the mention it's caramel colored. But it doesn't in English, or usually it does in German and in Dutch, but it does in French. Contient caramel, colorant caramel ordinaire, ordinary caramel. We have to understand by that E150A. So it has a bottle code, you can see there. I know it's from 2024. The specs, it is said a triple barrel because it's blending Bourbon cask, Oloroso Sherry butts and Tawny Port casks. I think that's the E150 is heavy on this, but also probably the port cask, which were probably chosen for the color more than for the taste, but we'll see. So yeah, we're gonna try that, and then I will quickly mention other blended malts that could be or not compared to this. So, too much talk, Greg, as usual. What do we have here? 40%er, obviously. There are quite some sticky legs, which I was a bit surprised. Maybe then didn't go too much in the chill filtration, because the legs are quite sticking a long time for a 4 years old. I'm surprised. Don't know if you can see them. Yeah, a bit. Now, of course, the downside is nose and taste. Yeah, forgot the main thing. Why it's a budget whiskey, supermarket whiskey. LIDL is one of the cheapest grocery shops we can find here in Paris. I was told it's the equivalent of Aldi in the UK. I'm not 100% sure it's the same. So cheap things, cheap wines, cheap beers, cheap food, very big value usually. And this is also the place where one of the, I think it was 28 years old or 30 years old blended malt or blended scotch was awarded in an international competition as one of the best or the best, while under 50 or 60 euros. So crazy thing. Now, the award thing, there was a cheating in the press saying it's the best whiskey of the world. Well, it was only the under in the category of blends. And also, you know, this also has awards. This is the tube, but I mean the EWSC, I don't trust. Sorry, for me it doesn't mean nothing. Judge score 80 to 85.9. Judges score. And Spirits Business Silver in 2018. Yeah, we'll see how much I rate it. It's just my opinion, of course. But there you have it on the nose now. Oof. There's something pleasant and something less pleasant. The pleasant, it's a dark chocolate, dark caramel, which makes you think of kind of Dalmorish, kind of Waitemata thing, and really having ripe and dark aromas. So yeah, chocolate, hot caramel, caramba in French. So we have not really Ovaltine in English, but something like. And also some burnt oak, some dried fruit, apricot dates, a lot of pruneau, Pruneau, I have to double check because I always forget. In English, Pruneau, it's very associated with southwest of France. You usually have this soaked in Armagnac. It's a specialty. Prune, okay. Prune in French it's different, but yeah, prune. There's a strong prune note. There's some kind of maraschino sherries, but maraschino with a more sweet and sour feel, like we have in sherry. I think that comes from the sherry cask, like I can find in some Irish sherried, very sherried whiskey, such Tullamore Dew, 12 years old, the single malt, which I have, and I'm not sure I have reviewed it. It's very difficult whiskey, so and it changes a lot. So there's this kind of bit putting off acidic, slight acidic, but more sour sherry maybe, but not completely. So it's a bit also some vanilla, but it's like everything is working around caramel, dried fruits, prune being very strong. And there's no grain in there, so we cannot blend the grain that we blame usually when I review blended whiskies, and I have a lot of blended whiskies late to cover. And that's about it. It's not unpleasant, it's a bit wordish, but let's go on the palate now. Again, with this one, there are days I found it pleasant and rather nice. Maybe I've been too hard on the notation and the scoring, but there's again positive thing, the complex caramel note and chocolate note, like different kinds of chocolates. There's something a bit vegetal, but not too much. It lacks of something uplifting it. It's what I said. We don't know which malts are in there, but I suspect a lot of Highlanders and a bit of Speyside. And yeah, again, I forgot, I'm sorry. €15.99. Almost 16 euros. So 4 years old, 16 years old, blended malt. Hard to beat in theory. We'll see that along. The mid palate, I mean, the mid palate is good. You could. I'm gonna change the rating. Very surprisingly, it's the first dram of the day. Yeah, it's more accurate like that. And maybe well, I think it's more accurate like that. Right. Yeah, so mid palate rather pleasant, then it falls a bit down. Finish lets a bit you down, but I think the weather is a bit hot today, and paradoxically I don't like the weather to be too hot to taste my whiskies. It seems to be better with it, despite the fact I tried it on ice. Yeah, I might shock some people, but I tried a lot of whiskies on ice, and not many high-end single malts for sure. And not my highest and I have one to cover. I have a Dewars, an aged Dewars to other Dewars as well. I mean, Dewars and Grants are very late to be covered in my channel, while I have samples and bottles. It's what it is, with a few drops, but it goes well on ice. Of course, it crushes, puts down some flavors, but the overall caramel chocolatey thing survives well when swimming with ice. And also I like to do, I'm a bit crazy, I like to do blended malts of blended malts. So do my own home blend. Yeah, it's so because the very upfront caramel and chocolate thing with the malt that's very strong goes a bit goes away a bit with a few drops. So either you're going to be radical and put some ice in there, not too much of course, or you're not going to be putting any water. So the score was 74.5 and I increased it today to 76 out of 100, bearing in mind that my way of rating is a bit more higher than the average, because my average is 75 usually. Why 75? You have online on my website all my scoring system. Why 75 and not 50? Because the average for me is regarding mainly Scotch whisky. Scotch whisky, unless you have, it's my opinion, unless you have big flows, too much sulfur, corked bottle, or contaminated with must and stuff, corked cask, if I may say, you will not have a lot of flows, to be honest. You can have the cask overpowering the distillate, yeah, very often, but usually you don't have a lot of flows, and because of the practices since the 60s, let's say, well, the 20th century, but even more after the 60s and 70s, with a lot of mechanization, industrialization, care for sanitary practices, you won't see a lot of flowed whiskies. And I mean, every whiskey will be almost, Scotch whisky will be almost average each time, which is not the case of many world whiskies. Even if we have tremendously good whiskies from the world, don't get me wrong. So that's why I have this 75. And also I go up to 100, not often, because also I integrate in this the pleasure factor. Out of the other, I have 9 notes, 9 factors, 8 are out of 10 points, and 1 is out of 20 points. It's a subjective pleasure factor note. Something I wanted to withdraw, but it's too late after 4,000 reviews, and maybe someday we'll go back to stars instead of 7 stars, let's say. I like the 7-star systems instead of numbers, but even with this I might go into half stars. So 76 out of 100 might shock you. Many of you probably will give a 40 or 50 to that, especially if you go to the drum face notation. I doubt this goes out to 7 out of 10 if this equivalent, but it's not the equivalent. So I mean, if you want something, you have a bottle, you're going to receive a lot of people, and most of them are not interested in whiskey, but rather in maybe mixing it or having it on ice, etc. And you don't want to spend a lot of money on that, so this is a good option. Now, the 16 years old, I rated it generously 84. It's better, but I could rate it a bit less. It's not a masterpiece either, but it was 16 years old. Okay, it was 5 years ago. It was 24 euros, so quite decent price. Now, if I want to compare it, I won't compare it in tasting now. It's a bit too hot and I don't want to lose too much time. What can it be compared to? Not really this one, but maybe it's the closest, because it's an 8 years old, not stated, but we know it's an 8 years old if we do searches. Copper Dog from Diageo, mainly with 8 malts, but mainly Rosile, Nocando and Inchgower. It's a 40%er. It has also some coloring, but less, as you can see. I reviewed it. If you're interested, have a look. I will put a link. Can it be compared to the Douglas Slings? I have no, not this one, because this one is lowlands, and as you can see, bourbon only. So it's not the same profile. Maybe more the Scallywag or the Timorous Beastie, because they're more highlands and Speyside, and also more sherried. I thought what I can compare it to. This will be unfair because it's 12 years old, a rare case of famous grouse. I haven't reviewed it yet. I talked about it on my website in an obscure page, but 12 years old. 40% is, but very rich and dense. And the Copper Dog even is more subtle than this, or way more subtle. It has been developed by Dave, by the way. And I told you I will give you a wink with John. I cannot compare it obviously to this same color, but natural one. And also it's a 54.6. Yeah, it's signed. Cheers, Greg. By John, and this was a Whiskey Life Perry 2009 cask strength edition. Beautiful whiskey. This is one whiskey that I should had covered, and I will do it, don't worry, with a live with John, but it will happen later on. John, all the best. So yeah, there you have it, basically what I can say about this. Hope you, oh yeah, I forgot to say the Copper Dog, the 8 malts, no, I told you, but the spice tree of that era was 2/3 Clydesdale, 1/3 a mix of Delwyn and Tininic. There you have it. I hope it was interesting. We'll come back to you soon. Not sure which topic, because it depends also on the weather. But this is everything I have to do yet. Before the end of the year, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to make it, but I'll do my best. So, see you soon. Bye bye. Thank you for watching and supporting me.